If you've ever cut everyone off and felt relief instead of regret, this video is about you. And before you scroll away, let me say this clearly. You're not broken, heartless, or antisocial. You're actually doing something your brain learned the hard way. And once you understand it, everything about you will finally make sense. Here's the uncomfortable truth no one says out loud. People don't cut everyone off because they hate people. They cut everyone off because they loved people too much for too long, with no return. At first, it didn't look dramatic. You just replied slower. You stopped initiating. You skipped one hangout, then another. Birthdays came and went. Group chats went quiet. And somewhere along the way, people started calling you distant or changed. But what actually changed wasn't your heart, it was your tolerance. Your brain eventually noticed a pattern you were too kind to admit. You were the one who remembered, the one who adjusted, the one who listened, the one who stayed longer than you should have. And when you finally needed something, emotional support, effort, presence, the silence was loud. Psychologically, this is where something fascinating happens. Your brain starts tracking emotional return on investment. Every interaction quietly gets evaluated. How drained do I feel after this? How much effort did I give? Did anyone meet me halfway? And when the answer keeps coming back no, your nervous system doesn't get sad, it gets strategic. Cutting people off isn't impulsive, it's calculated. Not consciously, but biologically. Your brain is wired to reduce pain, and after enough emotional disappointment, it learns that distance hurts less than hope. Here's the part people misunderstand. You didn't suddenly become cold, you became precise. You stopped giving unlimited access to people who treated you like an option. You stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped overperforming in relationships where effort only flowed one direction. And yes, from the outside, it looks like isolation. From the inside, it feels like peace. There's a reason the quiet doesn't scare you anymore. For the first time, your nervous system isn't bracing for disappointment. Psychology calls this self-protective withdrawal. The internet calls it ghosting. You call it finally being able to breathe. And here's something that might surprise you. People who cut everyone off are rarely impulsive personalities. They're usually observant, emotionally intelligent, and deeply loyal, until loyalty becomes self-betrayal. You didn't leave at the first red flag. You left after the 100th one, after being the therapist friend, after being the emotional shock absorber, after being the one who understood everyone but was never understood back. Eventually, your brain connects the dots. Closeness equals exhaustion. Availability equals being taken for granted. So it removes the variable entirely. This is why cutting people off often feels lighter, not lonely, lighter. Because loneliness isn't about being alone, it's about being unseen while surrounded. And let's be honest, the loneliest version of you wasn't alone in your room, it was sitting next to people who didn't really care. Now, let's talk about the part no one jokes about, but everyone relates to. People think you hate socializing now. You don't. You just hate forced access. You don't mind connection. You mind inconsistency. You don't mind effort. You mind being the only one making it. So you built distance, not as punishment, but as filtration. This is where people confuse boundaries with bitterness. Boundaries don't say never, they say not like before. You didn't close your heart, you raised the entry price. And here's the humor in it. The same people who benefited from your availability are the loudest about your absence. Funny how that works. Psychologically, cutting everyone off is often a transitional phase, not a final destination. It's your system resetting after prolonged emotional overdraft. Think of it like shutting down apps running in the background. You weren't lazy, you were overloaded. In this phase, your brain prioritizes predictability. Solitude becomes safe because no one can disappoint you there. No one can abandon you if no one is close enough to leave. And that's not weakness, that's pattern recognition. People call it hypervigilance, but here's the truth. You're not paranoid, you're accurate. You notice tone shifts, you notice effort gaps, you notice when words don't match behavior. So instead of waiting for history to repeat itself, you quietly exit before the cycle completes. No speeches, no drama, just distance. And here's the part that really hits. You didn't stop caring, you stopped bleeding. You learned that love without reciprocity isn't noble, it's expensive. So now you choose peace over potential, consistency over chemistry, calm over chaos. And maybe right now that means very few people, or none. That's okay, because cutting everyone off isn't the absence of love, it's the presence of self-respect. It's your nervous system saying, I won't keep sacrificing myself to prove I'm worthy of being chosen. One day, not today, not rushed, you might let someone in again, someone who doesn't make closeness feel like labor, someone who shows up without reminders, someone whose presence doesn't cost you your peace. Until then, solitude isn't punishment, it's recovery. You're not antisocial, you're selectively social. You're not cold, you're regulated. You didn't disappear, you finally came back to yourself. And if someone doesn't understand why you cut everyone off, that's okay. They weren't meant to be close enough to know. If this felt like someone finally explained you without judging you, that's not an accident. This channel exists for people whose patterns were misunderstood, even by themselves. Stay, subscribe. Here, your silence is understood.